Hey, this is Joe with Grow It Build It, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own Chipotle peppers at home, with or without a smoker. If you like smoky or spicy flavors or just want a new way to preserve some of your produce, then this video could be for you, as I'm going to show you how to smoke and dry out your own peppers to preserve them as a seasoning or ingredient to use throughout the year. I've been doing this for several years now and have my process down well. And it really is the main reason that I grow these hot peppers, to make these little chipotles that I can use all year round to season my eggs, omelets, soups, Mexican food, or anything else I feel would benefit from a little heat or a little smoke flavoring. It's a time commitment, but totally worth it if these are the kind of flavors you like. So in this video, I'll show you what peppers to choose for smoking, how to prep them, how to smoke them, and this will include with a grill, and finally, how to finish drying them out and preserving them. All right, let's have a look. So to begin, what exactly is a chipotle? Well, traditionally they are little red jalapenos that have been smoked and dried. Typically it's smoked for 72 hours in an open oven using pecan wood. I generally don't have 72 hours to spend maintaining a fire for doing this, so I'm just going to show you my way instead. Alright, so as far as what kind of peppers, well, if you want to make chipotles, you're supposed to leave the jalapenos on your plant until they turn red. And that's usually when they are at their hottest. You don't need to do this and can do it when they're green if you like. And you can really do this with pretty much any kind of pepper. I've done it with habaneros as well and some others. But the amount of time you leave them on your plant will increase the spiciness, so to speak. When it comes to preparing the peppers, so I'm going to go through all the steps here now, but I do want to point out that all these instructions are in an article at my website. I'll link to below if you want a quick reference later. But this next step is going to save you a lot of time. Pick your peppers from your plants, but first you're going to want to rinse and dry them. And then just leave them on the kitchen counter, out of direct sunlight, and you're going to do this for a long time. The biggest time in making chipotles is drying them after we've smoked them. So if we leave them on the counter, they're going to begin drying on their own. This really won't harm the flavor at all, and will cut down on the amount of time we need to spend dehydrating them in an oven or a food dehydrator. And I will seriously leave these peppers on the counter until they start getting soft and showing some wrinkles. I found it to be a huge time saver overall, as they just dry naturally, but they're still moist enough to take on the smoky flavor. Alright, so when it comes to smoking the peppers. So in order to smoke these peppers, you either need to have a smoker and use that, or have a grill. And you can use wood chunks with a charcoal grill or a smoker box for a gas grill. Now I'm going to be using charcoal. And before I light my grill though, I'm going to soak these chunks of wood for about 30 minutes in water. That's enough time for these 1-inch thick chunks to absorb, plenty of moisture, and that'll help them make more smoke. For what kind of wood you should use, I'm going to be using chunks of cherry, but any kind of fruit wood or nut wood will generally work. So apple, hickory, even mulberry will make a nice flavor. For smoking, we don't really need a large fire. I'm only using a couple of handfuls of coal, just enough to get 3 to 6 wood chunks to smoke. So use a charcoal chimney or other method to light it and get it hot. Once the coals are ready, pull some chunks of wood from the water and just let the excess water drip away. Just shake them off or let them sit there for a minute. Then place the chunks of wood directly on the coals. You don't need much wood to make a lot of smoke. Just 2 to 4 chunks like this will be fine for starting out. Then you're going to put the grate in place, and you'll line the cold side of the grill with your peppers and cover it up. You can see there that I have these other grates that I'm using to put on top of the first row of peppers, and this way I can just put more peppers on top and smoke more at the same time. It's a time-consuming project. I only want to do this once per year. Oh, and if you guys are liking this video, please give me a thumbs up. It really is an easy way to help me out, and I do appreciate it. Okay, so that's pretty much it for now. We're going to let the smoke do their work and peek out at the grill every 20 to 40 minutes to make sure it's still smoking. If you can't see any smoke, you may need to go add more wood, coal, or just adjust the fire. If you're using a smoker or a gas grill, well, you probably have it a bit easier than me and my charcoal. But you want to smoke these peppers for at least 3 hours. That is long enough to embed the smoke flavor thoroughly in the pepper flesh, in my experience. But as you can probably guess though, they're still full of water and we need to finish drying them out. You can keep them on the grill to do this all day, or you can use an oven or food dehydrator, which is much easier. Now I've done both methods, and early on I used the oven. I would take cookie sheets and line them with peppers and set the oven on low, jamming a fork in the door so that I would let out excess moisture. Use the convection heat if you have that option on your oven, and this will take 6 to 12 hours depending on how dry your peppers are when you started. But turn the peppers every couple of hours and remove any that feel dry enough to your liking. This will make your house smell a lot like smoked peppers though, like a lot. My wife hates it, but it's only for a day. Alternatively, I inherited a food dehydrator a year ago, and it's great. I can let it run out in my garage, and it doesn't stink up the house. It's also probably a lot more efficient for doing this than an oven for the task at hand, as well as providing better airflow. All right, so how dry is dry for the peppers? Well, you can let them in there until they get crispy dry, or maybe a little less so. Personally, I like to dry them until they get they're just a little bit pliable, similar to a stiff piece of leather. Now, as they cool, they're going to get more stiff, so just keep that in mind. But in my opinion, this leathery type texture helps them retain a bit more smoky flavor than completely dry, crispy peppers. But try each way for yourself and see which one you like. And I'm curious what you all think, so let me know in the comments. Once all the peppers are dry enough to your liking, just remove them and let them cool at room temperature for 10 minutes or so. Then place them in a large 1-gallon bag that will eventually you can store in the freezer, sealed up. Now, if I want just a few peppers for a recipe, I will just pull them out of the freezer. And I also keep a small jar of them in the fridge for easy access. But the most common way I like to use them is just for simple seasoning. So I bought this regular pepper grinder off Amazon, and then I just cut these peppers up into roughly 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch pieces and place them in there, and voila. The grinder will crush up the pepper just like any other spice grinder. And I can easily season my own plate for a little extra smoky spice without having to do it to the entire dish, which is good because my wife doesn't exactly like spicy food. But all right, let's have a review. So if you want to smoke and dry peppers, just remember these simple guidelines. Take peppers that are very ripe for the most flavor or spice, and let them dry on the countertop for a week or two just to reduce the total time for drying. Don't let them rot, just wait till they start to get a little soft and wrinkly. Smoke the peppers for 3 hours to achieve a good, thorough flavor. You may have to put more coal or more wood on the fire periodically, but it's something you need to check every 20 to 40 minutes. And then you're just going to finish drying the peppers until they're crispy or just a little pliable, so that when they cool down, they're like a stiff piece of leather. You can store these peppers for a year or more in a sealed container in the freezer or fridge to use throughout the coming year. But all right, that's all I got for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up as it helps me out greatly, and I do appreciate that. If you got any questions, ask in the comments and I'll try to answer them. And if there's some other produce that you grow that you can do this to or have done it to, let me know because I'll probably try it myself. And if you also have any special tips on this or have tried it yourself, let me know and we can all learn from each other, and it's all a good thing. But all right, you guys all have a good one.